So talk to me about volleyball. It's one of those sports that most people don't get into. It can be considered, it's a minority sport, isn't it, really?
It is.
How did you get involved with it?
So I played basketball in high school and middle school, and I actually just made the cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
And so I was going to do what everyone considers like the worst thing ever, play basketball in the winter and cheerlead in the fall.
Got you.
And one of my basketball teammates said, hey, Kim, like, you need to come try out for volleyball. And I was sitting there and I was like volleyball's not a thing. Like,
it's not a real sport.
Like, you
it's
play
like
that at picnics.
At the beach.
Like, you know what I mean? That's all I knew was like, you play that at picnics. You know what I mean? Like, and she was like, just try it. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I go and I try out. And when I go to try out, I'm like, I suck. Like, I'm horrible.
What are we talking about? Like balls just flying off left, right, center.
I just
awkward.
Think I was almost like a little Bambi, like not being able to like get certain things down. And I didn't know what I was doing. I knew nothing about volleyball. But I made the team. So I made a team. And so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, okay, what are you going to do? You're going to cheerlead or you're going to do volleyball?
Yep.
But to me, like, volleyball is like a totally different challenge. And then, you know, I'm always the base. You know, in cheerleading.
Yeah.
You know, I got to fly one time. And I was like, I'm never going to be able to fly again. This is a waste of my time. You know what I mean? I want to fly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was like, I'm not going to be the base forever. I'm like this super tall chick.
I'm getting chills.
All these little short ones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to
You just want someone, you know, for a change, just to throw you up in the air so you can pop a shape and bring it back down
But
again.
the problem is I wouldn't even trust anyone to catch me.
For real, I
trust me to catch me.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll just land this one myself from like 20 feet. It's fine.
Exactly.
Nuts.
So, yeah, so that's how I started. And my high school coach was pretty awesome. And he recommended that I go try out for this club in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. And that's like right near Villanova. So, and that's Synergy Club. And I went there and, you know, the owner of the club, Rory, he played a big role also. I just had really great like coaches and that like saw something in me that I definitely didn't necessarily see in myself. I just kept practicing and training and they're like, go try out for this. And I'm like, okay, I'll try out for that. And I didn't know what any of it was. I didn't even know who the stars in volleyball were. I never watched it. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that I was competing to get better at something, which was fun to compete, you know?
What other, so you played basketball, you obviously moved into volleyball. Were there any other sports that you were good at when you were growing up?
I mean, does eating candy count?
Yeah. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
A little Twizzler. Yeah, I'll go with one of those.
I got that best
Tootsie
candy
roll.
eater in class at one time.
Quickest Tootsie roll, got that down.
No, I mean, I actually had just made I was going to do shot put. I know it sounds crazy, but I was going to do shot put in high school. And then something happened and I ended up never doing it. So
this is the interesting thing about, like, we always think of shot putters as being like genuinely just stacked, like the strongest of the strong.
Yeah.
But you know what? Height's an advantage. And you're what?
But I never followed
6'2"?
6'2.5".
6'2" and a half.
I think people really underestimate these arms.
The thing is, there's wingspan in it.
It's huge.
And that they're in like basketball, volleyball, handball, those sports, even like discus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Having the advantage of a massive wingspan.
It's nice.
You've got trajectory, you've got if you can time it up, away you go, you become an Olympian.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's your story. We're going to find out some more on that. So you're talking about your coaches, obviously kind of having like a pivotal role in your development.
Yeah.
I kind of found the same thing. I feel like there's no way in life I would have become an Olympian had it not been for a number of people and meeting these people at certain cross sections of my life.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned your coach. Was there anybody else at home that was supporting you? What was the deal?
Well, for sure, my mom was always supporting and she couldn't always come to my games, but she just made it happen somehow. You know what I mean? She made it happen. Like, volleyball is it's a rich sport. Like, you have to have money to play and to travel. And I think most sports like that now, even nowadays, are very expensive to travel, like AAU and things like that. But my mom's always had she's always been like my backbone support system, even when she couldn't be around. So, but when I first started playing volleyball, none of them thought I was like serious. So it's like in the beginning, no one came to my games. Like, you know what I mean?
This is just that thing she does after school or whatever.
It wasn't like that serious, you know, but when I started rolling, you know, then it became a little bit different, you know, and then, you know, I started getting these letters in college and from colleges, and it was kind of like,
were they offering like scholarships and stuff?
Offering scholarships. Amazing. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? You know, my mom's like, whoa, this is legit. This is super real. But with my I would say like my first coach, Al Crawford, like literally was the best because he was like the no bullshit type of coach, you know?
Tell you as it is. If you're not working hard enough, pull your socks up.
Legit. Like, and he'll be like, what are you doing? Like, you're hitting that with your purse. Like, you know, just like, I don't understand. Like, but I loved it because it kept me, like, held me accountable. Even though I feel like I've always held myself accountable, at the same time, like, it was a different, and you knew that when he did what he did and said how he said it, he still knew it because he believed in you, you know?
Yeah,
and so I think that he was, like, awesome to have him to start out as being my coach, you know? And then him just contacting other people, and then they're like, oh, you know, Rory's like, you gotta try out for USA developmental camp. And I'm like, what's that? It's a high performance camp.
Yep.
So I go and I try out for that. And I go out and try out for that. And they're like, you made it. I'm like, huh? Like, what? You know, and I don't even know what that means. You know, like, you know, you're going to Colorado Springs for a couple weeks.
So it almost sounds like you kind of fell into sport accidentally. You were doing basketball.
Volleyball for sure.
Volleyball, and then things just started happening, clicking into place.
Yeah, that's what was going on.
And you kind of just roll with it.
I was rolling with it. I was just, only thing I knew how to do was just like work hard, keep learning, watch the people that were better than me. I mean, that's how a lot of times I got a lot better was watching them and trying to like
imitate.
Yeah, exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
That's how I was learning. I'm better at that.
Interesting, because I recall when I first moved into like my first senior training group for track and field, and I can remember doing hurdles with the big girls.
Yeah.
And within about 6 months, you know, that 2 or 3 meters behind came a meter in front.
Yeah.
Just pure and simply from like watching and learning, seeing the shapes that they would create over hurdles, seeing the rhythm and stuff like that. There's definitely something for younger talent being able to access older, more developed talent.
I totally agree with that. I think it's so important. I think more people need to do it and watch it. You know, my coaches used to say, we go to like these tournaments and in between, obviously you have like 8 games in a day, but in between I have to go watch like Logan Tom play. I would have to go watch all these people play that they told me about. And I would just see, I remember, you know, I developed the line shot because I used to watch Logan.
What's the line shot?
It's like, you know, she's here and she would just like, you know, coming up for an approach and then straight down the line like this. So you got your block and down the line. And I never got that. I'm like all over the place, you know, but I just kept copying her and just practicing and practice, you know.
Wicked.
Yeah, you know, but it's great. I feel like, you know, the quote, I think all the most cliche things in life are the true ones. They're the most simple.
Hit me with it.
Yeah, you know? But it's like, you know, like I'm a product of everyone that you come across. But I really feel like that in volleyball.
Yeah.
Like whether they've made me better mentally, physically, taught me something about myself, regardless. Like I feel like I have a little piece of everyone that I've played with, you know, in different ways. And it's contributed to who I am and who I was as a player when I competed, you know?
Talk to me about the Olympic Games, because I've only competed in one and you've competed in one as well.
Yeah.
You did Beijing 28.
No, I'm done.
2008.
I am done.
You're finished.
That ship has sailed.
What was it like, you know, how is it different from going to an Olympic Games compared to that of like a normal championships, like a normal, like high level, world level volleyball championship?
Man, it's crazy because when I go in there, I try to look at it as like, Kim, don't put that crazy pressure on that this is like the Olympics. This is another tournament you have to win.
Yeah.
You see it was a win is a win. It's like, you know, you shoot, you know, you dunk it or you know, shoot, you know, like a, in the, what is that?
Skill is still the same.
Yeah, it's still the same point,
yeah.
right? So I think that's what I was trying to look at it as. And we were playing really horrible. We weren't a cohesive unit. There was a lot of little weird underlying issues on our team that were getting in the way of us gelling well together. We played like absolute crap in the Olympics in the beginning.
So it must be really difficult because like I come from a single kind of event background or single athlete background. I'm accountable. Like whatever goes on that track at the end of the day is down to me. My coach might be in the stands, but I'm the one calling the shots and making the decisions.
Yeah.
And it's a relatively kind of closed sport.
Yeah.
You run, you do a high jump, so on and so forth. But in a team sport and a game sport, it's so open. Yeah. And so therefore, like one person misses the shot. You know what I mean? Someone doesn't dive a little bit further, then all of a sudden, that person's a jerk.
It's so true. Like
how do you deal with that?
I think what it is you have to be able to trust your teammates to do their job and to know your teammates well enough to know that when they're struggling, how you're going to be able to help them to pick that up. And I think that that's what it's almost like a psychology you have to have with being a good teammate and being a leader.
Knowing what the other person needs.
You have to know your teammates 100%. And you have to know when they're on and you have to know when they're off. And when that happens, we have to know how to adjust quickly.
How did you adjust and how did you turn it around? Because you ended up becoming an Olympic silver medalist.
Yeah.
Oh, my girl.
Yeah, girl.
Wicked.
Yeah. Well,
how did you?
I know.
It's like some crazy Olympic energy shit.
It's a totally different feeling because it's been so long, man.
Has it?
August will be 10 years. And of course, it was a young kid that told me that. So I was like, so you're saying I'm old? Like, you know?
I'm like, let's not talk about decades anymore.
Let's not talk about it.
But how do you turn that around? Like you're saying the team is sucking at the beginning of the championships.
Yeah.
You come on to make the final and obviously come second in the final. But you know what I mean? How did it get to that point? What clicked in place for the team?
I think it's something a lot of us really don't talk about. But we had some really unfortunate, really tragic circumstances at the Olympics that happened with someone being killed. And I think that. And I think, and it's hard because like you don't want to use that to exploit, you know, their death, like the fact that we won, you know. So I think that's why no one ever really speaks about it. But honestly, it's huge.
It brought you
to
together.
me when I look at it because I remember going to the Olympics, and I'm not making this up. We got there, we're unpacking, and I remember hearing someone say, "All right, only this many days until we're out of here," and I was thinking to myself, like, is this girl serious?
Wishing it away.
Yeah. Because she had already been to Olympics, right? I have never been, and this could possibly be my last, and it ended up being the only one I've gone to. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, I am not going to think like that. F that. And I played this song, this country song, and it's like, you're going to miss this every day. You're going to want this back. Like,
she's got a voice, girl. Got a voice.
Oh, I don't. But you know, I love that song, and every day I listen to that song because I was like, you're going to miss this. You're going to take advantage of this. You're not going to think like that. And yeah, there was so much discord, you know, and animosity. Yeah. Like this underlying quiet, sharp, like cold feeling when you're on the court with each other. Yeah. And then after that happened, it was, we got called in early before a game. We had a super late game, and we got called in early. And I think, we just were all like, disbelief, you know, just tears pouring everywhere, you know, crying. And it's like hard to talk about, you know, sorry.
It's fine.
But I think it brought us together because in the 4 years that we played together, we never played like that. And it sucks that it took something so tragic to bring us together, but it shows you how minute all those little issues that we create between each other, they are in the grand scheme of things. We all have the same goal.
100%.
And we're letting the dumbest things get in the way of our goal because we lost sight of it because we have, come on. How many girls are there and how many egos? And you're all men training together and we're all competing and we're all, you know what I mean? And I think that it really mid us like come together, and it sucks it had to be that, you know.
Do you know, like the insane thing is, I lost my father in 2008 when you were out there, like, you know, winning your medal, and so I went through a loss as well, which completely flipped my game around.
Did it just empower you
completely? I think you kind of find out who you are in those moments. You're either the athlete and you're either the person that you say you are. I'm that gold medalist, I'm that Olympian, or you're the person that wishes that moment away. And I can remember in London 2012, I can remember running the 200 meters in the heptathlon and thinking, you know what, like, I can remember coming out for the 200 and just thinking, I want this moment to last forever. Right. But I want to run this race as quick as I can. And I was just kind of torn because I'm just like, in a blink of an eye, that's gone. And in a blink of an eye, that's your childhood dream that passes you by. Right. And so when you're having to make these really quick decisions in a game, when you're emotionally right on the edge.
Yeah.
Because life has taken you to a point where you're on the edge. You're at the biggest and probably the most pivotal moment of your life. And then you're socked with the, the emotional dealing of grief.
Yeah.
That's on another level.
It was crazy, the type of, the energy, like, and the way that we were. I mean, we were playing, it wasn't just for ourselves individually. And that's, you have to play as a team, but this was the first time and everyone was out there and everyone was going balls to the wall and giving it everything they've got. And everyone's looking each other in their eye and everyone was checked in. Everyone was tuned in. It took like legit a full team. Every single person on that team picked up someone else's slack when they weren't there or was leading. The veterans we had, they were an integral part of that team. Because without them, I wouldn't know how to compete the way that they already had experience and they knew and they were preparing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was amazing to be able to come back and then we're winning. And then all of a sudden we when we beat Italy and they hadn't beat Italy in 2 quads.
Yeah.
Italy was a monkey on our backs, right? And I hadn't, I had been with them a couple years, so it was like I hadn't beaten Italy ever. And I remember my coach when I played in Italy was on coaching over there.
Got you.
And so, and he's actually the one that got my passing like butter. So it's funny because he just kept serving me. He had them serving me the whole time. And I said, you know what? I may not have hit well, but I passed my ass off. Just for you. But it was something else inside of us. And then, someone else played their role. And we came back and the fuel, the fire, just everything. I don't know.
And that's exactly, when you just said fire, that's exactly what it is.
It was. It was lit.
The weirdest thing is, I think when you're playing for yourself, it's one thing.
Yeah.
When you're playing for somebody else or in memory of somebody else, that's a whole nother thing.
It is.
And I just feel like, the thing that grief serves you is a crazy ability to just dig inside yourself and be like, right, F it. Yeah. I'm going balls to the wall and I'm not going to take my foot off the pedal until I get what it is I came here for.
Yeah.
And I bet you walked, and I do want to ask, I want to know whether you walked away from that championships with that medal, knowing that a piece of that medal belongs to that person that you lost.
Oh, for sure. I think 100%. And their spirit,
you want to go out
always remember
there.
Seeing them. It's not funny. The one part was when we were in the opening ceremonies, and I specifically remember seeing, them there and waving the flag, and I remember getting chills in my body, like legit. And we're walking, and they had their flag and going, and I was like, and I teared up actually when I saw them because I just got these chills, like in the bird's nest, and so. Of course, I do believe a piece of that medal belongs there, and I wouldn't have wanted to go to battle with I don't care what we went through. We were all supposed to go through what we went through, 100%. And battling with all them, there's no one else I would choose to battle with. We got a silver, and it's bittersweet because you always want the gold, but we fought our butts off. And at that moment, I still felt like we lost. I mean, you still didn't get first, right?
I was going to say.
That was hard. I was, there like, silver. You just want to go back and play the game again, right?
Of course. And you start thinking about all of the things that you could have done differently, and you
miss that serve.
For real.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, as soon as the game's over, you're thinking those things. You know that, like, what you did wrong, Yeah. And, but, I don't know. It was a really special moment that I'll have forever, unless my memory goes.
Life's crazy indeed.
Yeah.
How did you kind of let go of that? Like, the Olympics is, I think most people, and this is what we don't know about, Olympic sport, is the week after the Olympics, the Olympic blues.
Yeah.
Like, you exit that kind of, whole village life, and all of a sudden you're a normal person
village
again.
Life.
Exactly. We'll talk about the village life.
Yeah.
And then you're a normal person again. How do you let go of that? And how do you, move on from what you've, your achievements just a week before, or even, a year later? What's the deal?
Yeah. What's crazy is like, I want, that silver, but you still afterward, you're like, all right, well, what does this mean for the rest of my life? right? Like, I don't think I got like the blues right afterward because I think, you know, the men had just won the gold. We got the silver.
Yeah.
You know, this is the first time in 24 years USA Volleyball has gotten a silver medal. We've never gotten a gold, but a silver medal. And, you know, at this Olympics. And so, yeah, you know, and so like, I think it was really kind of like exciting time. I think we partied. You know, I've got some pretty trash,
I bet you got some
crappy TMZ videos.
Yes. Oh,
you know what I mean? Being out here in LA and I didn't even live here and it was like so excited, like we're gonna go out, like you know what I mean? I think, I don't know, people always say like, where's your medal and you know, what effect does it have in your life? I don't know, it's weird, still, it's not me, right?
The thing about the medal is it's just a thing.
It's just a thing.
And it's actually the memories and those moments that you recall that are the value.
How do you move on when you still have your real life?
Yeah.
You know, like you were saying, like I read, you know, like a lot of people do work. The wrestlers work, and a lot of people are struggling. Olympians are struggling.
Yeah. When you were playing, when you had your scholarship, was everything taken care of? Were you able to fully focus solely on volleyball?
Yeah, I was volleyball because I went and played overseas. So that was our contract.
Yeah.
You know, our contracts were over there and it made us enough money that, you know, we could travel and have a nice life. So that was, we're fortunate for that, to have that season over there.
For those people that don't know, the perception that Olympians are very, very well paid and they are killing it and they are, you know, all professional sports people. It's just not true.
Yeah, it's not.
You know, in the build-up for London 2012, I fought and fought and fought for the right to make it to that championships. Lost my father in 2008.
From what?
He had a heart attack, 2 strokes, spent 6 weeks in hospital and fell, you know, ill, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, but like you were saying, you know, and hearing your story just really resonated because I'm just like, if it wasn't for that moment in time, that taught me who I was as an athlete. That taught me who I was as a person.
Right.
It was okay, this has happened. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
Who are you? Are you that person you say you are? Are you going to step up at this moment in time? Are you going to do everything you said that you were going to do when your dad was here? Are you going to, you know, put into place those plans that you talked about?
And it's like, what would he want you to do?
Yeah, totally. And
not
also
crumble,
like,
not give up.
There's an element of you want to make that person proud.
Yeah.
But how do you do that when you are an athlete struggling? And, you know, I ended up having to get 12 sponsors to send me to the Olympic Games. Private sponsors. I had like a brewery. There was a care home, my university. There were, you know, like employment agencies. There were so many people in and around my area that helped to support me that wouldn't have, you know, I would never have got where I was if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
And then talking of that, so something that was recently in the news, Forbes released a list of the top 100 athletes or highest paid athletes in the world.
Yeah.
Not one female face.
Yeah. I'm not
Why
shocked.
is that?
I'm not shocked.
Why is that?
It's I don't know. It's sad. I think it's really sad. But I think it's always been like that. I'm not saying that I wanted to continue to be like that, but it has been. I
mean, Serena took a year off to have a baby. We'd have thought Serena would, you know, she'd have been up there.
I would have thought Serena would have been on there.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you take Serena out of the equation for a year to go off to have a baby, the fact that there's nobody else there making that level of money, it's like, what is, you know, we celebrate sport, we celebrate sports people, we celebrate Olympians, but what are we doing for them? You know, we're giving them the opportunity to compete for their countries once every 4 years, unpaid, by the way.
Yeah.
In case people don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't get paid for the Olympic Games. It's a non-professional, you know, event.
We got paid for medaling afterward, you know, but
endorsements via the club or via your
USA
country.
Volleyball.
Really? Amazing.
Yeah. So we were fortunate for that.
Yeah, amazing.
But some places do and some places don't. I know that Italy, I don't know if it was their government or someone that offered like $1 million that they could split if they would have like won. But we knocked that out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, Italy.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Yeah. You know, as far as we've come, I think some things don't progress as much as we think they do. We think that they have, and then something comes out like that's concrete, and we look and we're like, whoa. Yeah. We're still stagnant.
There's the evidence.
And the thing is, it's like, you know, men's basketball, it brings in the money.
Yes.
And in America and NFL, which I don't necessarily support anymore, but that brings in the money. And that's what, and that's...
Why don't you support NFL anymore?
I don't like the way that they blackballed Colin Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. I think it was heinous. Mm-hmm. It says a lot. It's so deep-rooted to me. And it's such deep underlying issues there. And it's disgusting that someone that's protesting so peacefully, actually, that you can take that and turn it into such a negative thing for your agenda. Yeah. That crushed me. To push forth
your political message or whatever that is.
Busted his butt all of his life for this.
For this sport and for the country, and to represent something really positive and to be a role model and for someone to look up to.
That crushed me. So I have respect for the players. They're busting their butt for everything they've worked for to make their lives better and their dreams. But I do not have respect for NFL
the organization.
Yeah.
Did you hear recently, I think it was in the news a couple of weeks ago, that they're now imposing not a ban on athletes, but a fine for athletes who decide to take the knee?
They're fining for everything. Let's just talk about it. Like, they're fining. How long ago did the NFL actually start implementing the fact that they needed to actually come out for the American flag? Was it because I read, and maybe my information's wrong, because I read that it was only a couple years ago when they received money from the Department of Defense or something, some agenda for people to start doing patriotic acts during halftime and other things like that beforehand. So to me, I'm like, is this money driven? Like we're supposed to be patriots as long as the money's in there.
Of course.
And now, like you're making people seem like they're less patriotic for doing that. They're standing for something and it has nothing to do with that. Like, and I think that they've expressed that, but yet they silence the reason why they're doing it, and they put their agenda and their words on it.
And they make that person look like, like they're doing something wrong.
He's not doing anything wrong. Colin's not doing anything wrong. He's doing everything right. He has more balls than most of us, actually.
If you don't,
I feel like a coward compared to Colin Kaepernick.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything.
Right.
Simple as.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So your Olympic volleyball career is firmly done and dusted. It's behind you. You're happy about it.
It's done.
Talk to me about your transition into the world of fitness.
Man, okay.
When did you qualify as a trainer?
So it was going on 4 years ago. I believe it was 4 years ago. And really what it was, I've always been interested in the body.
Yep.
I also had a herniated disc in my back that took me out a little bit from playing. So it started in about 2009. I started having real pain, weird pains. 2010, actually, in Czech Republic. And then I didn't know what was going on. And they're like, oh, you have a little herniation. But obviously it kept growing bigger and bigger.
And you kept playing through it and training
through it. But it wasn't anything that was so significant. It just would get sore. I didn't really know. I'm herniated what? We're good. And then what happened is one day I woke up to go to practice in Anaheim. And I literally stood up and I just fell on the floor.
Oh,
I just fell down.
What happened?
At that point, I had no clue what the heck happened.
What was it?
It was like a ghost came and took a Nancy Kerrigan, on me, just bam, Tanya Harding the crap out of me. You know what I mean? It was horrible. And so I didn't know what to do. And I had this pain. It was just shooting my back and down my leg. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never felt anything like that. And so anyhow, I'm like, how am I going to drive down to Anaheim 35 minutes? And I'm in so much pain right now.
Are you still thinking about playing or what?
Yeah. I'm like, how am I going to practice? I'm like, I probably wasn't already on, the coach didn't know me very well. So, I was like, freak, he's going to think that I'm not, I got to get down there. He's going to think that
you got in your car,
or
didn't
something,
you?
Right?
Did you get in your car?
So, well, first there was a challenge of me putting my socks on first and changing.
Oh my life.
And doing everything. So I'm I literally at one point
call an ambulance. Call an ambulance.
I didn't know if I was being dramatic or what, because I literally had to crawl to the bathroom, brush my teeth, try to put my clothes on there. It was a nightmare. So I'm driving in the car, going to Anaheim, and I'm literally driving like this and moving around, driving like this and just sitting in a little Range Rover Sport. And it's so small, inside, And so I get there and I'm walking like a grandma, coming in. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on with me. I cannot get out of this position. Like everything hurts. Like,
oh my God.
So I go, and then anyhow, it turns out I have like this herniated disc and candidate for surgery. And I'm like, nope, not doing surgery. And so I'm like, I know about epidurals, but you know, I was like, I don't care.
Did I give you one?
I went and got one.
Good.
So I went and got one. It really helped me.
Yep.
And I was like, anything to try to make it to a second Olympics.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that was a tangent that I went on to let you know, like, about like me having that herniated disc. And so with that, at one point, I feel like I was training myself. You know, like just using when I hurt myself and I wasn't really doing anything with USA.
Was it instinct? Like you were listening to your body and saying, right, because I felt like, in fact, when I won Commonwealth gold, I trained and coached myself and I listened to what my body was telling me it needed.
I could feel, I feel like I've always been pretty in tune with my body. I had no idea what the heck was going on, but I just didn't want it to like stop me from trying to get to a second Olympics, but I felt it was already happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so at one point I wasn't training with USA anymore and I didn't know anything about the body really, except for everything I've learned from all the trainers that I've ever trained with and physical therapists. And so what I did is I, rehabbed myself back. I went on bodybuilding.com, which is really funny. And I like follow this stuff and all the, and I created my own little workouts that I was doing while I was in China and like rehabilitating myself back,
Amazing.
But I didn't know what I was doing. So it's always kind of like motivated me in the fitness realm because I was like, I want to be able to help people and prevent them from having things like that. I wish I knew more. There's things that I was doing that now that I look at that I'm like, why was I doing that?
What are you doing with it?
Doesn't make sense. Like,
herniated disc, probably a lot of jerking.
A lot of things, and it's just, you learn a lot when you become a personal trainer that you're like, well, why was I doing that? And sometimes you're kind of like, who was training me?
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I look back at my athletics career and by far, like the things I know now about nutrition, about mobility. Mobility, I feel, is the one thing, if any young athletes are out there listening, spend the time.
To do it.
Spend the time doing it. You will pay off when you're in your 30s, I tell you.
Isn't that horrible though?
Yeah, because the mobility side of things, like, is just grunt work. Nobody wants to. It's not very fun. There's no intensity.
It's necessary.
For real.
And so I was in this place where I was kind of like, Kim, what are you going to do? But, I had some money saved and things like that. So I took a year off, kind of chilled, traveled and, just like enjoyed life and was like, but I've always been interested in, the training. And so I signed up for NASM, and I studied for it and, I got that and I was like, this is going to be dope. Like, I'm going to be able to like, I actually wanted to initially just learn for myself, you know? And then also I was like, then I can help other people once I started realizing all the stuff I didn't know that I wish I knew. And then pretty much I started at Equinox, man. Like at Equinox in the South Bay. Yeah. And there's a dope team over there. Yeah. Like, I mean.
You sound like that was a bad thing.
No, because, like when you like around strength and conditioning trainers are like, Equinox, But like, it's a great place to freaking start, Equinox out here. I mean, they have really good in-house education and, keeps you on your toes and you have to learn how to sell in addition to believe in yourself too. Because I think that's the scary part when you first become a trainer. You're like question yourself and you're afraid to ask, for what you deserve.
What you want to charge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's easier just to lump that shit up on a website. Do you know what I mean?
Like here, this is what it is.
If people are calling, it's because they've seen already.
Yeah. So I got into that and then, at first it was like, how can I help people? And in the meantime, while I'm figuring out this transition, because the transition period is very difficult, I think, after sports, especially when I made a decision just to be like done.
Yeah.
It wasn't
And when was that?
2014. Yeah, I was looking at contracts to go back overseas.
Got you. So that was 2018. So that was 6 years after your first Olympic Games.
Yeah.
After 2012, obviously, not making it to 2012. You kept pushing for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you're 2 years away from 2016, which would have been Rio.
Yeah.
So that must have been very difficult halfway through an Olympic cycle. So this is the point at which, for those people who don't know at home, you're gearing up for that Olympics and you decide to retire.
I think that USA Volleyball and I like parted ways in 2013. So for me still playing, I kind of like lost why I was playing. You know what I mean? Like I didn't—
You fell out of love.
Yeah, I didn't— well, because I wasn't playing with the flag on my chest anymore. I didn't have like a bigger purpose for why I was playing. I found myself like, am I just doing it because I'm like, I love to compete, but also it's like, I love playing for USA.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why I was playing anymore. I'm getting older. I'm overseas by myself. And it's been fun, you know? But at the same time, it's like, I still had something to prove to myself. And that's why I went to Brazil.
Got you.
And I trained myself.
And what was that you had to prove?
That I still had it, regardless if people didn't believe it. And, you know, my mom will say one thing. She's like, you let, you know, this person get in your head until you didn't have it, but you had it because you already did it. And I was like, you know, you're right. And I think that's something you have to suck in, is that I accepted a no. And that's something I have to live with. You know, when I knew that I felt like I didn't really have the chance, I kind of was just kind of like, And that's something that's really real that I've never like really said out loud to anyone besides really my mom, you know, or sister. But like, I did inside accept a no. And I felt like I was fighting this uphill battle that was more than just my game.
And it's hard.
And I was like, how am I supposed to prove that I'm a team player to you? Or, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just more than that. But then the biggest issue is not anyone else. The biggest issue was me. Because I let myself believe that what I was doing wasn't enough. That, you know what I mean?
And I feel like that's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
When you get on that level. Like I can remember my decision to retire was very much my own thing.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm done.
Yep.
I don't love this sport that I loved before. Yeah.
You just know when you know.
Yeah. And I got to a point, I wasn't trying to prove, you know, I didn't have that same, I want to prove, you know, I had that when I was competing.
Right.
I would not only want to prove this to myself, I want to prove it to the person that didn't want to put me in the team, like the national coach that did not want to put me in the team.
Right.
That I wanted to prove it to the coach of my rival who was doing the most to sabotage every single competition I ever went to.
Really?
I'm just like,
that's gnarly.
You know, when you finally make, and then the idea of continuing for another few years with all of that baggage, I can imagine it's just like, it's not worth it. It comes to a point where it's not worth it.
But like everything though, like I don't know, like I put everything on my own shoulders, and which it's my world, it's my choices that I made, and me not being on that team was my fault. You know, regardless of whatever I may think, you know, like it was me. I could have done it differently. And I look back at that, but I also don't have any regrets now because this is my path. And, you know, it's been a freaking winding road, uphill battle, but like this is my path and I accept it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And now you're on your own team, Glass House Fitness.
Yes, Glass House Fitness.
Tell me about Glass House Fitness.
Yeah, so I came up with, I was in between like, Kim Glass Fitness, what do you do? Like everyone's got something fit. And obviously my last name is Glass, so we got that. But if we look at what a glass house is, a glass house is like a greenhouse. And to me, a greenhouse, I mean, not to me, just in general, greenhouse is a place of growth. And I look at, you know, if you're coming to work with me, you know, like, you know, I don't have my own gym yet, eventually, you know, but I want you to grow mentally, spiritually, you know, like organically, you know, and I wanted it to be a place of growth for you and me together, you know, because it's a team now. Like you invest in me. So that's where I came up with the glass house. Someone did this really cool little design that's a dual meaning. And the G is a house and then the H is a dumbbell inside. And I thought it was cool and very simplistic, which is what I really wanted.
So now you're basically free of sport.
Yes.
And so this is the thing that I get in the fitness industry. I hate it when I get called like a fitness influencer. Because I'm not.
I think there's a difference.
I'm an Olympian.
There's a difference
How
between
do you feel?
A fitness influencer and a personal trainer. And then there's a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I think a lot of fitness influencers, they pay trainers to do their programs and things like that, right? And they're trying to teach what they're learning from trainers, right?
So
without the education.
Brands tune in and listen up.
Right.
There are Olympians people that have excelled at their sport,
right,
that have put years and years and years of training, money, blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice into what it is they're doing.
Right.
If you want to align with them, then those are your values. There are fitness influencers, which are, how would you explain it?
I would say the fitness influencers, they enjoy fitness. They look great.
Fans. They're
fans. Yeah, they work really hard. And you know what? They make damn good money doing it. So
that's right.
I'm not mad. I'm not knocking their hustle. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm not knocking the hustle.
And then there are trainers, certified trainers.
Yeah, and then there's the, trainers that I think it's a little bit more education based,
can add value in different ways.
A lot of different ways. And they actually know and understand more what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously especially in LA, the fitness industry is very saturated, but people are getting smarter and the clients are smarter about it, and they're asking questions and they want to know why they're doing things. And, and I think that it's requiring a lot more responsibility than just to look good aesthetically online.
Which is, I feel like, what the fitness industry has been getting away with for years. Mm-hmm. I feel like the fitness industry has this really shiny front door, but behind is like a really rundown house.
Yeah.
It's literally like, it's just about the marketing. And are there what are your biggest like fitness gripes at the moment?
One of my biggest ones I'm just gonna like preface it here by saying I'm not against people doing anything to their bodies that they want to do to make themselves feel better and look better, especially when it comes to like if you want to get ass implants or whatever it is.
Yep.
It's not about the implant, it's about the lie that comes with it, and you're misdirecting like this information, like you're telling people I got this butt from working out and you have no hamstrings.
Oh my God. Where are the hamstrings?
Hey, it's okay if you got the booty, but let's not lie to people, because there are people that that don't live in LA that don't know that that's not real, and they really believe that.
Completely. And then they think that, okay, what do I need to do to get that? And then when they don't get the results,
they're disappointed
and they resort to
whatever it is that they have to do. And,
it's accessible.
Or you have clients coming to you and they're asking for that. Well, she got that. And I'm like, babe, I'm telling you.
She paid for it.
She paid for that. And if that's what you want that unrealistic expectation, I can't give you, the 90210 Dr. Beverly Hills stuff.
Yeah, go and see a surgeon.
This is going to take work. This isn't overnight. What's one of your biggest gripes?
Wow.
Which one isn't it?
I think the same thing I think that's a great point that you're making about selling a lie. I think that the thing I think that is becoming more and more dangerous is the link between Instagram and body positivity.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we have this huge spectrum.
Yeah.
We have those people who quite simply don't engage with fitness and couldn't give an F.
Right.
Then you have the people in the middle who, and I like to think of myself, even though like I have this background as an Olympian.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a person who has balance in their life. I like a cheat meal, and I don't even want to call it a cheat meal. I like food.
I like living.
I like to eat, and I like to train. And sometimes I train more than, I can out-train my eating, and sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
And some days I'm like, I just need a pizza. And other days I'm like, I just need to hike.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I just need to run. So I have balance in my life that really works for me, and I'm happy. And then you have like this other side, which is people doing the most, i.e., every single Instagram post is abs, is arse, is gains, is food. And I'm not a massive fan of being overloaded by perfection or the image of perfection, because my life,
not real.
My life isn't like that. I stopped posting pictures of food.
Yeah.
Like I purposely stopped posting pictures of food because I just felt like I'm not just going to sit here and pretend that all I eat is protein and vegetables every day of the week, because it's not.
I actually was beating myself up as a trainer because I was like, I'm not. Some people are like that, but I'm not. I travel, I see some ragu, I want it.
I want that ragu.
I'm gonna eat the ragu.
Exactly.
I'm gonna eat the ragu.
And I want the pasta, and then give me dessert on top.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're in this really dangerous place whereby as Olympians, as trainers, as influencers, we need to know exactly what the message is we're putting out into the world.
I agree.
And so, not giving two Fs about your body, what you put in and how you exercise is not healthy.
Yeah.
but then caring too much is also unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the next chapter is about how do we find the authenticity and the healthy balance in the middle.
How do we get to the authenticity from such a topical place?
Slay Sunday.
You know what I mean?
Slay Sunday,
right?
darling.
Clearly,
We've got all the answers right here. Right? You know what I mean?
Call it out. I think...
go for it.
I do think one good thing about the fitness industry right now is that it's being toned and being fit is becoming more of a thing than just being thin. And this isn't, oh gosh, it's so sensitive right now. You can't say this. It's like you're thin shaming or you're fat shaming or whatever it is. I'm not saying like being thin is a bad thing. I'm just saying that people are really loving feeling and looking healthy.
Yes.
Because that mindset is actually
feeling
changed.
and looking fit.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And what I think is really interesting, so and we'll come and touch upon this later. The really interesting thing, and I want to go into more depth, is about whether we've had, the appearance, people, beauty being absolutely thrown at us in the media.
Right.
The image of perfection is, a skinny girl.
Yeah.
And now the image the counterbalance to that is the curvy model.
Yeah.
And I feel like, is it now time for the fit person? Like, because this is something that I really want to come back to in a second, but I feel like we're gearing up for almost like we're in a fitness revolution, but we're gearing up for something very, very important that hasn't yet happened back. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
One thing I really wanted to touch upon is endorsements. And the thing about Instagram, social media, I feel like we're constantly being bombarded by product all the time. Product.
Yeah.
How do you decide what products you endorse?
If I wouldn't recommend it to my mom or my sister and take it myself, then I'm not recommending it to anyone else, not for $1. I think that we have such a level of responsibilities as trainers. People invest their lives, their time, their money, their bodies into us. And so we do the best that we can to try to give them the best information that we have access to, that we know at the time, right?
100%.
And I'm not going to just go out there and just sell a certain type of tea. I'm not against everyone that's doing whatever. We just have, we're just coded differently.
Yeah.
I personally can't do it. I've been, hey, sell this.
Don't you think that's because you know better?
I know better.
I feel like the reality of it is, if you want information, follow a certified trainer. It's as simple as that.
Information, do that. But some people don't know the difference.
Right? Well, we're breaking it down for you. Yeah. If you want that information, follow a trainer. Don't follow, the person that's getting the information from a trainer or is getting the endorsement to push it, because their motivation behind why they're pushing it is money, not your health.
Yeah, and that's the difference. And I only align with brands that I really believe in.
Same.
And so I've aligned with TRX and with Halo Neuroscience, and that's incredible.
If you don't have a TRX, get one.
Wait, I don't even know. Have you been living under a rock, underground selling oranges?
I remember when I first. So the TRX is a suspension training strap, whatever you want to call it. Strap it anywhere, shut it to a door, and away you go. Yeah. I can remember when my ex-boyfriend actually from Holland brought one to the track for the first time. This was back in maybe 2007. This was groundbreaking technology. Yeah. All of a sudden you could do planks while you were suspended. There were multiple different planes of motion you could walk through. I was like, this is some multi-dimensional shit.
Randy Hedrick, he came up with that bad boy and killed it. I listened to his How I Built This podcast.
Oh my gosh.
And that, it was awesome. And then I got to sit down with Randy and over breakfast, and we were just talking and just listening to it.
I'm going to get him on.
So inspiring.
I'm going to get him on.
He is phenomenal. You hear that, Randy?
There you go,
He is. He's a great dude. But so for me, I'm not going to say people sell out, but people have needs and they make a lot of money off of what they do. Yeah. I do think there is a responsibility morally to provide people with good information, and with good products, right? That you use it. But, I've gone from a place where I've had it all and I've lost it all. And even when I've lost it all, I still wouldn't sell that for certain things for $1, regardless.
You heard it here first. And the other thing I was going to ask was, because I've certainly had this, being an Olympian, has that ever had a detrimental effect on your endorsement opportunities?
No, actually, I don't really think it has. Actually, if anything, I think it's been a positive thing. It's helped me get endorsements instead of just being another female athlete.
Totally.
Or another female athlete that wears a bikini and can model. Like, you know what I mean? It adds a deeper level to it, you know, and I think that people like to get behind their country,
this is the difference between the USA and Great Britain.
Oh, really?
Because, I mean, one of the reasons that I moved over here, and one of my pet peeves back in the UK was definitely, you know, the idea that, we want to appeal to the every woman. And I'm like, I am every woman. I'm every woman. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
not listen to Whitney Houston.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, I'm every woman.
Yeah.
I'm a woman that can shot put and can long jump and can do those things.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, my friend who's also a multitasker.
Yeah.
She's just good at other events.
Right.
And so there's this almost like, the Olympian or the female sportswoman is therefore not attainable. It is attainable. I just became one.
What about the airbrushing that you put on magazines?
Right.
And what about, you know, when you guys, we reshape ourselves on Facetune or things like that? How is that attainable?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Double standards.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think there's definitely an element of double standards going on.
For sure.
We basically, you know, it's just basically a case of what fits at that moment in time.
But there's always someone that can change it.
Completely.
Right?
And I'm very thankful and blessed for the brands that I do work with and the people that I engage with on a daily basis that actually look at the whole spectrum.
But do you get this? But you're an attractive female.
Oh my God. Do you know what? How does that make you feel? One of the weirdest things that I've ever... In fact, this is an interesting one. Interesting situation. I'm going to spill some tea here.
Yeah,
so I was dating a guy a few years back who was quite a public figure. Anyway, he left my ass. Whatever. What did he know? And anyway, I bumped into his next girlfriend at an event.
He didn't want to ride that sleigh.
Exactly.
He didn't deserve to be in the sleigh.
He didn't know what this was all about. And I ended up bumping into his next girlfriend at an event, and she said, "Oh, I'm so-and-so." I'm like, "I know damn well who you are. You stole my man, bitch." And then she was like, "Oh, and he told me like you're an Olympian. I didn't realize Olympians look like that."
Isn't that interesting? To be a female athlete, we're supposed to not be attractive. You know, it's so crazy.
But then also the perception that every Olympic athlete or every athlete is unattractive.
Yeah.
Define unattractive.
What is it? Well,
if unattractive is a person that can beat you in 100 meters, then we're unattractive.
Yeah.
If unattractive is a person that's going to spike on your ass like on the beach whilst you're playing volleyball, then we're unattractive, you know?
But isn't it interesting because I even listened to, you know, Kasha Fit, right?
Yeah.
And one thing she was saying, she's a strong woman and she can beat a lot of men. I mean, I don't know. I've never met her before in my life.
I loved
what she said. And that, I love her videos. Yeah. She has great form, everything, you know, and she's strong as hell. And, you know, she was saying she had to learn that she's not her body, right? Like, and that people, women, and men, but especially women, like, I don't want to look like this or that because it's too strong. It's not feminine. What defines femininity? What is your definition of it?
Because I
have muscles, I'm not feminine.
Femininity to me is how I feel about myself, and I have got a deep ass voice.
Yeah,
but it's about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah,
nobody can take your femininity away from you unless you allow them.
Define your femininity.
100%.
Your femininity is your version of it.
Yeah, and it's
that.
Own it.
I always say, like, F your box. Like, pretty much. Like, 100%. Every time you want to put me in that box and you think, oh, she's not feminine enough, F that box. I'm not going to check that for you. You know what I mean?
For real. I'm with you on that one. So I want to talk to you now a little bit about modeling.
Okay.
So we're going to take this up. We're going to talk about the thing I wanted to talk about earlier.
Okay.
So Little Birdie tells me that you had multiple attempts for America's Next Top Model.
Fact.
So were you ever on the show, or was it just
Never
like
on the show.
application? What drove you?
I just kept going to tryouts. One time was the actual just application sent in. And then I remember the first time it was like I drove up to Arizona. I drove up to Phoenix and I tried out and I didn't make it. And then you know, I had this like little short wig on then, you know, I didn't know. I'm trying to figure out who I need to be for television.
Yes.
And I probably came off so inauthentic when I look back at it, like, you know, now, because it's like, I'm like, what do I need to be to get this? 'Cause I just want to model. And I think that's what I wanted to do. And I thought that is, you know, like my one friend said, well, if you model, if you get the job, well, what does that have what effect does that have on you as a person, really? You know, my guy friend said that to me. He's like, you're smart, you know, you're athletic, like what, you know, whatever. So fast forward, but I did it, and so I tried out again. Tried out 5 times. I didn't make it. I went to Janice Dickinson agency when that was hot too at the time. So I flew out to California. I got super skinny, and honestly, at that time I didn't know any better. So I'm thinking I just have to look skinny.
How old were you at this time?
And I did it in a very unhealthy way.
How old were you at this time?
Oh man, when did I do that? What year was that? 2000, and I maybe was like, shit, I don't even know. Am I getting that old?
So it was pre-Olympics, let's
Pre-Olympics, yeah. I was still in college. Yeah. So when I was still in college, I was like, what, 19, 20, you know, whatever.
I went through that phase.
Yeah. So, you know, I
got super skinny.
And I think even like, so, you know what's really funny though? My black girlfriends are like, eat a donut, you know, like what's going on. My white girl was like, girl, you look good. Like, Kim, you've been looking good. I'm like, thanks,
it's
you know.
So funny.
I am looking good.
This is a really interesting
so different,
thing.
Right?
This is a crazy thing because here's the facts.
Yeah.
So black women, black and brown women, black and Latina, Hispanic women in the US have the highest rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
This is very much like a cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing. It's
and I
like
feel
miseducation
too. Completely.
Of eating well. I mean,
this is the second biggest miseducation. The first one was Lauryn Hill's album. Like, you know what I mean? This is the second biggest miseducation. Yeah. Because I feel like there's this huge taboo in like in our culture that is basically like, don't talk to me about what I should eat. This is food, this is nourishment. But we're also seeing the signs that we have high rates of obesity in the areas where there are extreme levels of poverty, where it's much, much harder for people to choose healthier options. They just need to eat. Yeah. And then also the idea that rising levels of cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, stroke. Yeah. This is the things that we're not talking about when it comes to health. And it's like, it is really, it's funny to a certain extent. Yeah. But we're also living less long. We're also leaving daughters without mothers. We're leaving cousins without cousins. Do you know what I mean? We're doing it to ourselves. And I feel like this is
increasing depression. Completely. Because the more drugs you have to take and the side effects of those things, you know, you never know what can happen. Like, I think that it's a lot to do with it. I think it's the cultures, you know, and a lot of old school mindsets of what you're supposed to eat and the miseducation. Because I know people say, I eat well, I eat really good. And I say, all right, write down what you've eaten. They tell me. And their idea of what eating well is not good at all. But it's also marketing. Yeah. And if you look on this, you know, it's out there now. These buzzwords that they have for everything to make you think that, I mean, there's a level of responsibility.
Low fat, sugar-free, and reduce fat from what? You know what I mean? And so you don't know I wrote on my blog, like, you know, keywords for sugar just so people can look at it, because I didn't know for a long time. I am learning as I go also as a trainer and learning even more. And now I'm like, this stuff I didn't know. If I definitely didn't know it, most white people didn't know it. And so most likely, and I need to tell them about it. 100%.
You know, how can I put it out there so they can understand it?
In a way where they're going to listen as well.
Exactly.
You're going to learn.
And I think it's income also.
100%.
Eating healthier is way more expensive, 100%. Sadly.
Me and producer Raph went for a sandwich the other day. $12. He nearly keeled over in the aisle. I had to literally fan him back to life. I was just literally like, oh my God. He's like, this is a $12 sandwich. I'm like, it is. And it's...
Lunch, remember when lunch was like $7 back in the day, or $5? You can go to lunch with someone. Now it's lunch is the minimum $20.
It's almost like I feel we are in danger of health and fitness becoming elitist. And this is one of the things that I want to curb. as soon as and as quickly as possible. And I feel like it's in having these discussions that this will happen. We need to make sure that the next generation of young women, and we're the ones that are going to be the mothers.
Right.
We're the ones that, the buck, I think, starts with young women in and around our age.
Yeah.
Because we're the ones going to be feeding them.
Yep.
The first morsel of food that goes into your baby's mouth is determined by people our age. And so therefore we have a huge, huge role to play on the health and the habits of the next generation.
We do. And it's a responsibility we have to take. And I think, we're throwing it out. There's so many different agendas, but I look in where I live, it's actually near Inglewood. And if I drive down this one street, I can't find a healthy food place in miles. It's Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Baskin-Robbins, all these places, KFC, everything, right? That does not do anything good for your body.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I go on the other side, on the west side, it's tons of healthy places. So it's where we're positioning them. And obviously as a business, you're like, well, where am I going to make money?
Yep.
And you have to think about that. And I understand that part of it too. But I think it's really trying to change the mindset of cultures. And that is something that's really hard to get people to do. And it's like, how do we do it? Where do we start? What's the way that we can pull even like 5 people in,
Totally.
And just get it going?
The interesting thing, going back to culture, is, if we think about all the things that I love about America, like soul food, like barbecues,
I love barbecue.
Like ribs,
that's my favorite thing to do.
Beans, cornbread. Like, if we think back to where these foods originated down in the South, where people were engaging in manual labor on a daily basis, this, to a certain extent, and I'm not saying everybody out there doesn't do manual labor nowadays, but this was back in a time when you had to work, you were working the fields by hand. There weren't washing machines. There weren't all these time-saving devices that we have. We weren't, everyone wasn't driving cars. We just don't need the same amount of calories as we did back then. And I feel like we're catching up and starting to, we've not yet discovered the fact that portion control is a huge part of it.
It is huge.
A huge part of it. And one of the things, if we think about cardiovascular disease, diabetes, moderation,
Pig feet.
Yeah.
Guys, we don't have to eat that no more.
What did you say? Pig feet?
Yeah. My mom made me eat that when I was younger. Even then, we didn't have to eat it. Why did you make me eat that, Mom?
Brilliant. That's off the menu, FYI.
Yeah.
Nuts. We've got a lot of work to do, but it starts here and it starts today.
Yeah.
Deal,
legit.
packed, done.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was female sports people being overlooked in the world of modeling.
Right.
So I feel like, would you agree with that? Is that something you'd agree with? You knocked on that door from America's Top Model a number of times.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Yeah. It's rough. When you have nowadays the influencers that we have that make so much money and draw in such a crowd, these businesses are like, well, I don't need to pay
sports women.
Like woman that only gets a certain target audience.
Right.
When I can get, whoever it is, without naming names, who gets...
Oh, I'm going in.
Yeah.
I'm going in. Because what we're talking about, I guess, are like sports brands. If we look at the top sports brands, Puma at the moment have Rihanna as a creative director, but they also took on board Cara Delevingne, Kylie Jenner, Selena Gomez more recently, and who else was there? Somebody else possibly. Possibly might have been...
All work out really hard too.
Yeah. And then we have like... Gigi Hadid for Reebok. We've got Kendall Jenner for Adidas. Who else are we? FKA Twigs for Nike, which was a campaign that I loved. And so we're seeing more and more, and this has kind of always existed.
Right.
But we're seeing it more and more increasingly, I think. A prominence of, models and artists bagging top-level contracts with sports brands. And then we see no women in the top 100 on the Forbes highest paid athletes board. I feel like there's a direct correlation here.
Well,
I feel like the opportunities for sports women to get those bigger contracts, they're not going to them because, as you say, there perhaps isn't the audience. So is the problem the fact that, I'll come back to the issue of spectatorship in a second, but I feel like, okay, so this is a profile thing. It's as simple as that. So therefore, who's responsible for growing the profile of these athletes to the point where they are superstars in their own right, like a Gigi Hadid, like a Kendall Jenner, like a Selena Gomez, so on and so forth. I feel like, is it a case of the media's not playing their part? Is it the case of the governing bodies aren't playing their part? Is the country not supporting these female athletes? Is it the fact that you have to be... Do you have to be Serena Williams in order to earn that money?
That's what
Is that the only way you're getting it?
By example, from history, it seems like you have to be a Serena for that. You have to be even like Anna Kournikova. I don't know what she won, but she did really well in the marketing aspect of it.
But never won a majors.
The look, but she had some look that they wanted, whoever they were, wanted to market, and they took off with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to give props to Under Armour on this one. Yeah. With what they've done with Misty Copeland.
Started out. I'm an Under Armour OG.
For real?
So love Kevin Plank.
Nice one, Kev. Nice one. So what I love with what they've done with Misty Copeland is they've taken somebody who would have been anonymous in the ballet world. Right. One of my best friends dances for the Royal Ballet in London. And they took her story and ran with it. Yeah. They saw themselves in the market and they described themselves as the underdog. Right. They aligned themselves with someone who in that sport was an underdog and they made her an absolute star. Yep. And to me, I'm like, that's what this is about. That's what this whole... But what's the story when it comes to Gigi Hadid and Reebok? When it comes to, I can understand Rihanna's role as creative director, because I feel like what she's done, Fenty Puma, is really pushing the boundaries of fashion.
Makeup, boy!
Oh my God, man. I'm absolutely caked in it.
She did that.
That's a different role than an endorsement. That's a person being given the opportunity to create. Right. But where's the story when it comes to Kendall Jenner and Adidas?
I think at this point they're like, we're not the underdogs.
There ain't no story.
Right? There is no story.
We're just jumping on that wagon. Why do I need to do that?
They're making the money. They're hot right now. They're the it girls of this age right now. The Gigi Hadids, all of them, Hadid.
And I'm not saying they don't deserve it. Yeah. But what I do suggest is that they come down for a training session. I want to see them working out. I want to see the girls working out. If you're wearing it,
fitness brand,
you better represent. You better get down and do those wall sits. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that they're looking at as, no, they're models for us. They're not like, it's just like hiring a model to do a print ad. Do you think they're looking at it like that? Well, it's like,
do you know
as
what
well as an influencer.
What I think is really interesting is because we know Giselle for Under Armour as well. We know these girls work out. Yeah. We know that they exercise, but we never see it. Yeah, yeah. Give us okay, this is cool. Here's the campaign. Give us some of the workout as well.
And they still have to stay pretty slim for sample size. Yeah. So the workouts are definitely
I want to see some Kendall Jenner crunches for sure. So as I was touching upon a little way back, we were talking about rise of the super skinny, and now the next now it's kind of plus size is the next hot thing, athletic models. Right. I mean, if you think back to, I think it was last year, New York Fashion Week. I think it was last year. Teyana Taylor.
I didn't even see it.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't even see it.
Go on YouTube now.
But her bio looks great. I think
she's just unreal.
When she came out with that
and slayed
that video,
New York
I think it was a game changer.
Completely.
Because
Fade.
She made it like, wow, she's cut. Yeah. Girls like, wait, I want to be cut too. And not just, I feel like in the Black community, we're still coming a long way to work out. You go to a gym, you don't see as many Black people in a gym. No matter where I go, And so I think that people seeing Teyana's body like that, they're like, well, I want that. How do I get that? You know what I mean? And I think that she did something really beautiful.
To fit.
Yeah. She already has a really nice body naturally, I think. Yeah. And then she works hard, obviously.
Completely.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. The thing is, the reality of it is when we talk about physique, you should never compare yourself because everybody has different genetics.
You've got to stop
Some
doing that.
people, I remember one of my training partners, she was Nigerian. The girl only had to look at the weight rack to just be in shape, stacked. Easy. Whereas I had to pump away months and months and months just to get the same athletic result.
Is that interesting?
Completely. Yeah. And so we should only ever, I think, look inwardly when we're thinking about bodies and how we feel.
I agree. I think we have to stop comparing ourselves to people, to their lives on the internet. Which you know what I mean? I totally agree with that.
100%.
And especially with the body image, it's not realistic what people are putting out there. We don't know people's lives.
What is sustainable for you as a trainer, and you see people coming through your doors every single day? I think we're probably on the same page with regards to you should be going out there. Anyone should be aiming towards a sustainable nutritional and training regime.
That's what I really try to emphasize a lot with people when they come talk to me and they're like, I heard one girl say the other day, she's like, I'm supposed to lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And I was like, all right, but like, that's not necessarily sustainable. And it sounds good. You're going to pop that boot camp.
Yeah. And we can, we can get you there.
And we can get you there.
What's next?
But then
that's the easy
what's going to happen
next?
after that?
Completely.
And then, you know what I mean? And so it's just really important for people, I think for us to break it down for them so they understand. And you know what I mean? And so then they can say, all right, because I feel like once you give them that information, that knowledge, they get so excited. They're like, when their friends are talking about it, then they talk to their friends, they're like, no, well, so what you really need to do is you want to make sure there's balance. And you know what I mean? And I'm all about the balance, like, all right, you're gonna mess up. Is it a mess up? No, you're going to want to go out and eat that. Okay, that's fine. How are we balancing your life out? I don't think it's about extreme one or the other.
Yeah.
And
I think the tendency is for people who fall off.
Yeah.
Let's say you're on a diet plan or whatever, a nutritional plan, and you fall off.
Haven't we all fallen off?
Get back on.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Just because you fall down once doesn't mean you don't get up. It's as simple as that.
And like, I also think that when people think of us as trainers, they don't think that like we're human, that we don't have issues.
Right.
Like, I'm an emotional eater, and I think I get it from my mom.
What is it that you go to? It's not pig's feet, is it?
Depends on the week.
Pig's feet?
I've been to strawberry shortcake, like those little ones at Whole Foods. God. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I definitely
have those things where you're like sad and you're like, why am I feeling this way? And then you're like, I just want to eat. And people think that you don't understand them because they look at you and they look at your body and they think you're, because you're fit, that you don't understand. People say, oh, you're always like that. You're born like that or this. And
it's okay
no,
for
I'm
you.
human. I go through the same things. And that's why I understand where you're coming from. So now it's like, how do we work together to get you to that place? I know it works for me. What works for you? You know what I mean?
Amen, sister.
We're all human.
Preach.
We're human. Don't beat yourself up. That's the problem.
For real.
Because I know
hard.
I beat the crap out of myself. I always have. My mom's like, you're too hard on yourself. And it's like, I get it. Like, you have to be nicer to yourself.
Yeah. Be more gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
So we're coming to the time in the show where it is time for all that and a bag of limes.
Okay, let's do
but
this.
I don't have any limes.
Okay, no limes.
So
this is like a margarita?
My little poche.
Okay.
In here, I have a number of questions.
Okay.
You're going to pull one out, read it out loud, and then we are going to fire some shots at whatever the question is. We're going to take it on. So your thoughts on...
Uh-oh.
What is it?
Damn, I was hoping I wasn't going to get this one. So am I saying this right? Snog, marry, or avoid?
Snog, marry, and avoid. And we are going to choose. We've got 3 Olympians for you to choose from. Shaun White.
So what's snog mean? Like,
snog's like kiss.
It's like, kiss. Oh, just a kiss with tongue.
What is that?
Like,
I don't know what that is.
Like hook up, like sex.
Oh, is that what?
I didn't know what snog meant.
This is great because this is like a little translation version as well. Snog is a kiss with tongues, like a French kiss. Do you guys say French kiss?
Yeah, we say that.
Okay, it's a French kiss.
Okay,
it's a French kiss. We've got Shaun White, Winter Olympian, gold medalist. Tyson Gay, sprinter. Know of him?
Yes, I do know.
Cool,
him.
excellent.
Yep.
And then we've got
2008 Olympics.
Yep. Michael Phelps. Snog, marry, and avoid.
Yeah. You just went like to a place where you just made this as hard as possible.
Oh, we got time.
Wait, what does Shaun White look like again? Let me just look this up really fast. Hold on.
He's pretty hot and he's very successful.
He's a ginger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like gingers too.
Like redheads?
Yeah, because I feel like I'm going to get me a Duke,
Yeah.
So I feel
like... get you a Harry?
Yeah, he's like my version of a Harry, so I might...
Go for it. Shaun, you're in, mate. You are in.
Let's see. Tyson Gay, I would maybe... This is so hard.
Come on.
Okay, all right, here we go.
We got time.
I'm going to probably avoid Michael Phelps.
Why? Not a fan of swimming?
I don't know, like, what are we going to do together?
We don't have to say why.
You know what I mean? Like,
what you're going to do together? You don't, not, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I don't know.
Michael.
He just doesn't do it for me. Like, he doesn't do it for me.
No, it is.
So if I had to, I would probably like, kiss Shaun White.
Nice one.
I would snog him.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm learning a new language.
Snog and then, Shaun. Well done, Shaun.
Maybe marry Tyson Gay.
Tyson Gay.
Yeah, I think I would probably marry him.
His chips are just coming.
Yeah.
Ching, ching, ching.
Yeah.
Okay, next up in the poche.
Mm-hmm.
Or don't put it back in there. Otherwise, right? You'll have to be snogging Shaun again.
No, right?
Which might not be a bad thing.
All right. Flat tummy tea.
What do we feel
about it?
Exactly.
I feel like just change your damn diet and you actually see results on a flatter tummy. Like I actually had a flat tummy tea creep into my DMs, like, oh, we like your page and we would like do it. And I was like, hell to the no. I won't endorse that.
I mean, I love tea. I'm British and I love tea.
Yeah.
Flat tummy tea, and
I think most of them are gimmicks. I haven't seen one that I thought actually worked, but I don't know. I don't use them because I try to challenge myself to eat better.
Yeah. Easy way out.
TRX.
TRX.
Love
I mean,
those 3 letters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We love it.
We love the TRX. 100%.
Favorite exercise on TRX?
The Ooh, my favorite one?
Yeah.
I do love inverted rows because I suck at them. And so they say you should work on the things you suck at the most. And so it's inverted row.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like too often, like, we always try and swerve the stuff that we're not good at.
Yeah.
Spend double the amount of time there.
I've been doing that lately because I know I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like my push-up game was wax. You'll see a lot of things nowadays. I'm like pushing some push-ups in there. Like I gotta get
them, Kim.
Yeah. So
wicked.
Tragic. Let's see. Wait, what is it? Sporting icon.
Yes. Who is it?
You know what? I know everyone's always gonna say this, but I love Kobe. The way that he played. I like his work ethic. I like how he held himself accountable and his teammates accountable. Yeah. The amount of work that he put in was like unparalleled, I think, to a lot of people, and that's why he was where he was. So I'm gonna have to say Kobe. What about you? What about you?
Do you know what? There was no. I didn't really idolize anybody.
So I don't idolize anybody.
Yeah, I really admired. So there was a heptathlete, gold medalist for Great Britain, Denise Lewis. And she's become one of my very good friends. And I can remember looking at her and thinking, she's strong.
Yep.
She nailed it. She's a gold medalist.
Yeah.
And she's beautiful. Yeah. She's like sassy. And I just I remember thinking, oh, I don't idolize. I pretty much idolize her, I think. Yeah. And I can remember having a poster of her. My teacher gave it to me at school and I was just like, this woman's badass.
Yeah.
Like she had this sleeveless like suit for the javelin. It had no like sleeve. And I was just like, my girl, there was something that definitely resonated. I'm like, that's like me. Like she's my spirit animal.
See, I think it's different when you feel like that than like idolizing. So I think it's like you put people in a pedestal place and you like envy them and their life. And I think that like I never have envied anyone or their life because I always feel like you never know who people are. I admire their work, their art, their craft, but like I don't envy people.
The weird thing about it as well, I think, is as a competitor, you might have to go up against that person. There ain't no time for idols when I'm lined up next to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the first time I had to play with girls that like and be nice.
That you look up to. It's a weird one because it's like actually when it comes to the competition, you don't have respect. You just can't afford to have respect for them in that sense, in the heat of the moment. Afterwards, when all is said and done, much respect. Yeah. In the time, I'm gunning for you.
I give them respect always, but I don't give a crap about their life. Like, I'll take the food off your table type thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like so your babies don't eat. Oh. And then afterward, I'll be like, how are your kids?
Yeah. I saw them all day.
Killer. Oh, man. 3 dinner guests.
Yes.
Man. I know I actually thought about this earlier and then I stopped thinking about it and then I forgot to think about it again. 3 dinner guests. This is very, very interesting. Oh, can we come back to that one?
Sure.
Okay. That's a hard one right there. It's good. CrossFit.
Thoughts on it?
So I am not very well versed in CrossFit. And that's one thing that I started making myself do was I signed up for ClassPass and I went to a bunch of different CrossFit gyms in LA. And because I think it has a really bad rap. And I think really what it comes from it is like just bad training and people that don't know and they just see people, you know what I mean? Like I've gone to a couple places where I was like, are you going to tell me what to do right here? Like, you know, they don't know I'm a trainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I've gone to places, or one place specifically, where I loved it in there. It made sense. She knew what she was talking about. I was, you know.
Where was it?
It's called CrossFit Horsepower, and it's in Van Nuys. And it's on Van Nuys Boulevard or something like that, right? But I love it because this lady Meredith there, she's a great coach. And I literally was like, I like excited. Actually was like, I need to start learning how to Olympic lift more, you know? Like just things that you don't do every day. And so with her, I feel comfortable and safe there. And also with my own knowledge.
Yes.
I like it. And you know what? I admire the work these girls put in.
Sure.
I mean, they're stringent with their diet. They work their butts off. You know, I know Carrie Pierce, and like she's a beast, and she eats, sleep, breathes it. You know, I think it's.
Would you consider it a sport?
Ooh.
Or a community?
Oh, I mean,
could it be both?
I think it's sport community.
No,
I mean,
for me personally, I probably have more gripes about CrossFit.
I think it's a sport.
I feel like the title, the fittest athletes in the world, is just not quite accurate though. Only because I'm a heptathlete.
Yeah, the fittest athletes in the world.
Because I'm like, well, you know, it's one thing.
Do you think they can go against a CrossFit girl and beat her?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If I was doing it, definitely. Because I'm an athlete. But I just feel like you can't claim fittest athlete in the world because
you don't want that title. What if they took that title out?
Then I'd be like, yeah, whatever, CrossFit.
Okay,
But I feel like the reason being is like, yeah, you know, that means you would have to go and snatch with Olympic like weightlifters and powerlifters. And then, so you'd have to compete on their level.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to go and run a 400 meters against Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my mind, like the fittest athletes in the world are heptathletes and decathletes.
Yeah, because that's no joke.
Well,
like,
just because of the level of different disciplines. And so I hold on to that kind of title and that I kind of hold on to that. I feel like, no, we're the fittest athletes in the world.
You're
like if we go back to ancient Greece, like where this whole started,
right.
It all kind of comes back to heptathlon, decathlon. Now, CrossFit as a sport, I feel like it's...
I think they train just like any sport. You know,
and a community... I'm
going to give it to them.
Yeah, I think as a community, I think is where it has... I think it's really, really changed things and changed people's lives.
Yeah, I think it has.
And
give certain people a purpose.
Completely.
Some people that couldn't make it as that professional athlete, I really believe that.
Completely.
I see how pumped up they get being able to go and compete and feel like they're on the team.
100%.
Even then they have to go to work, you know, their regular job or whatever it is. But
it's a sport, like if you're a weekend warrior or whatever and you're engaging at that level, then I just think more power to you.
Yeah.
My one thing is I just feel that there are like you said, it's a case of there are good CrossFit gyms and there are bad CrossFit gyms.
It's about the training.
And it makes me scared because I feel like anyone that can, like my mum could go into a CrossFit studio and start doing Olympic lifts.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. It took me a while to learn those techniques. And I just feel like the idea of putting somebody like my mum in a position where, you know, her joints, back, knees, hips, and everything
I think it's not for everyone. And I think that it's really important to be able to have ways to progress and regress, right? And I've gone to certain ones that when I said, oh, I can't do this like this,
because you have a herniated disc.
Or something. Yeah. And she's like, hi, Kim. Oh, I'm like, oh, now you want to talk to me? Like, why aren't you doing your burpees this way? And I was like, because I have L405 S1. Would you like to have asked me that before we started the class? But you know what I mean? But 100%. I try to go with an open mind.
Yeah.
But like, my whole thing is there has to be a way that you can show people
options.
Don't daunt them from coming into this. Show them there's always another way. If you're a good trainer, you know there's another way to get that accomplished?
Yeah.
What is it?
And also, if you're a person who's taking part in the class, don't be afraid to stand up and say, hey,
this doesn't work for me.
Yeah, can't do this. Getting knee pain,
People get
whatever
so nervous.
it is. Yeah.
I always say, even you train your clients, right? It's like, hey, were you feeling something here?
Yeah.
You got to tell me.
Because I
don't know.
Yes.
You know, you got to let me know. And so there's something we can shift, or maybe it's a cue I can give you. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't realize I was doing that.
For real.
You know, so we need just good trainers, you know?
So we've not quite binned off CrossFit yet.
Yeah.
To be continued.
I'm not banging out because, like, you know what? I respect the athletes that I do know in CrossFit and what they put into it. And to me,
it's hard work, like to be able to do multiple muscle ups.
Yeah. I went into one gym, that I'm not gonna lie, and the guy's like, "Yeah, do a muscle up." I'm like, "Bro, okay,
with those limbs, you're 6'2.5".
Do you see these levers?" And so I was like, "Should I grab like a box and like, is there another way I can start from this, right?"
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Well, you just jump and pull up."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Sir, I'm just trying to tell you this. This is why I'm here, because I'm trying to get stronger with this, and I'm trying to get, understand what you guys can give me. And the guy couldn't give me anything more, and that was at a different place. And I was like, okay, good to know. And you just
totally,
that's the level of coaching that they have.
Unfortunately,
I'm over there pretending like I'm a trainer, just seeing what you can give me, and that's all you got
with those long arms. Cute.
It's hard, man.
It's ridiculous.
Like, pulling up is no joke.
Look at the levers.
These levers are these are my
and they're long, man.
Yeah.
Look how long they are.
These are seriously my selfie sticks.
She's literally like east to west coast.
It's no joke.
Fudge. What we got next?
Kettlebells. Love kettlebells.
Hate kettlebells.
Yeah.
Hate kettlebells. I hate them.
Why?
I just think a dumbbell will do the job just fine.
Yeah, you can do it too. Yeah.
A dumbbell will do the job just fine.
Swings
a barbell
are easier with a kettlebell.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. That's the only thing where I feel like, well, this isn't really working because of the ergonomics of it.
Yeah.
Simple. But kettlebells, I just think, you know what? The amount of times that people come in with bruised wrists and, even I bruise my wrists.
Yeah.
With years of experience.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
I just feel like dumbbell.
One thing I don't know about you, but like a lot of people in our society, especially we're on our phones and we're like this and computers and driving all day in traffic or whatever. People overlook the fact that most people's wrists are really, really weak.
And overworked.
Yeah, and super overworked. And
100%.
Yeah. So doing this stuff with that is not for a beginner. It's not for people that don't work out all day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And you got to get a feeling for these these implements to know how to use them properly. That's chewing gum.
That's some gum wrap.
I'll take that.
Is that Devil Mint?
I'll take that. It's an old one.
Kill one, Nike or Adidas?
Oh!
This is so hard right now because
you love both?
Because Nike's like a staple, right? Like
which one couldn't you live without? Simple.
I could live without both. But I could live without both of them, but I feel like Adidas on the fashion side is like really killing it with like this fun, like funky stuff. So if I had to kill one right now,
and say why.
I get free boxes from Nike, so I don't want to lose that.
Political, but well played. Okay.
But I like things that are a little bit more out of the box and that can I'm working out, but I can also have a little eccentric side to me.
Yeah.
Right now, Adidas is giving that to me.
Yeah, I feel
even though I don't go buy it because I feel like I should never have to buy a workout gear as an Olympian.
Yeah.
I know that's such an asshole thing to say.
Entitled. Well, I kind of feel like you've earned it.
You shouldn't have to
buy
workout gear. It's really expensive.
Yes, it is. Welcome to the real world, isn't it?
We're going to kill off the Nike for now.
My last poche.
Yes, let's go. Second list. Ooh. Kill one. Winter Olympics or Summer Olympics? Obviously, winter's out.
Uh-oh. To be honest, obviously, I'd have to go with the pure. I mean, I love skiing.
Yeah.
I love skiing.
Yeah.
But
and I like seeing the skating, but.
Yeah, but I prefer watching gymnastics.
Yeah. Oh, gymnastics is literally my favorite Olympic sport to watch.
It's the best, and it's always on first in the program.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And these girls are so young and so mentally strong and disciplined at such a young age. Like I remember when I was at the Olympics, I had just turned 24 and Shawn Johnson was what? 15. They were underage.
But this is the thing. You see these kids, and they're literally walking through the village, and they're literally
little
up to your belly button.
Yeah, they're
literally
minis.
like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This kid's probably looks 8 years old, but maybe they're 14 or whatever.
Yeah, I would definitely have to go for the Summer Olympics.
Last question.
Okay.
3 dinner guests.
3 dinner guests. I would probably bring my grandmother back.
Oh.
I'll let her come over here, you know, we kick it again, do what we used to do. Goodness gracious.
Go on.
It would be my Uncle Don.
Go on, Uncle Don.
Yeah.
Why Uncle Don?
Uncle Don, he passed as well. So it's like, you know, it's just like to have that dinner with them again, you know?
Yeah.
And I would have to say Maya Angelou.
Really?
Yeah. That's one person I really wanted to meet and I never got to.
I would love to just get one more quote out of her.
Yeah, you know, a good one. I mean?
You
know, just drop a gem to me.
Yeah, go on, Maya.
No one else. Yeah, go on. I'll put it on a shirt. No one's gonna know it's from me though. Yeah, I would love to just sit down and just talk with her and just absorb any wisdom that she has to say.
All wisdom.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you.
I want to ask you a question though.
Go for it. Flip that switch. Flip it around. That escalated quickly.
Sorry.
Go for it.
So wait, did you get a ton of condoms? Oops, squeaking.
At the Olympic Village?
No,
but the answer to that.
Where was that at?
Was no, because they were all gone. By the time I got there, I heard there was like this message going around. I'm like, free condoms in the health center. I'm like,
I didn't know anything about that. And I was like, people were like, so Kim, hello, was there a lot of condoms? And I literally was like, no,
I just packed my own.
You never know. I mean, the Olympic Village was fun.
Yeah, it was.
You know, it was nice.
It's the one
I broke up
thing
with my boyfriend during the Olympics, actually.
That's a good move. I'm going to be straight. I'm going to be real.
Yeah.
People always want to know what goes down in the Olympic Village. And the answer is everyone.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, I definitely was courted, like,
by everyone.
By a couple people.
What country was the worst? Because this is the thing. Like, obviously, when you're in the Olympic Village, you are predominantly always in your sports clothes. You're in your Team GB, Team USA kit. What country hounded you the most?
Oh, well, I'm going to have to say it was probably not, for me, it was just USA, I think, honestly. You know, probably like USA. It was track at the time.
Keep it in the family. Okay, USA track.
Keep it in the family.
That limits it. I know at least 10 people.
No, it's funny because
I'm thinking track and I'm thinking speed.
And
I'm thinking relay. Narrows it down to 4.
But you know what's really funny is like I literally broke up with my boyfriend at the Olympics because a lot of reasons. But when that happened, I was like I'm sitting there walking around and I'm like, well, why am I even with this person? Because
look at all these hot
I worked
bodies.
my butt off and you weren't supportive this entire time. And then I'm looking and I'm like, oh, Serbia, you guys are so beautiful.
Serbia,
and
man.
I'm like, Serbian men are just so like.
This is why we have to educate.
They're beautiful.
This is why we have to educate ourselves.
Beautiful.
Who knew that Serbia had so many beautiful male
just
athletes?
Big, strong.
Where do they get it from?
Features. Their mama, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But like, I just was looking around. I was like, oh my God, all these people, they've all worked just as hard as me, if not harder, to be here. And they get it. And that's such a huge turn on. And, you know, like, so, you know, there were times, you know, I've been walking with one and they're trying to talk to me and then that person tried to talk to me. And I'm not used to it like that. So I was kind of like feeling kind of good. And it was a nice little distraction.
And so you should.
While you're on the Olympic Village, when you're sitting there and like, you know, getting rehabbed and they're sitting there coming to talk to you with that. Kind of made me feel like a pimp. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm going to miss the Olympic Village, man.
Yeah, right? What do you say?
I'm going to miss the Olympic Village.
Yeah, I went on a date, actually, my first date with an ex-boyfriend.
Where did you go to? Gym?
McDonald's. We couldn't leave the Olympic Village. We got actually, during the Olympics, we got in trouble for... It was for a specific reason, one person in particular. And
what was that?
I'm not allowed to talk about that one. Guys, it's some really good tea, but I can't talk about it. But what I will say is then we had a curfew and we were not allowed to leave the village after that. And we were like, you're ruining for everybody. You know what I mean? And so my first date with that particular boyfriend was actually McDonald's.
Because
there.
McDonald's is open 24/7 in the Olympic Village, and it's free.
Yeah, and it's free.
So we all got fat.
You know what was really crazy? Because I wouldn't touch McDonald's now, right? But I ate McDonald's damn near every day during the Olympics.
So oh my God.
Because like some of the other food I got a little queasy with.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I felt safe with at the Olympics. So everyone must think we're there and we're eating these amazing meals and this and no.
It's all chicken nuggets. McDonald's. It's disgusting.
It was.
It's actually horrendous thinking about it.
Now that I think about it.
If only we knew.
I know. It's a cool game.
What a hot mess.
It's a cool game.
So, Kim, talk to me about the future. What's next for Glass House?
So,
go for it. I was going to say, you mentioned that, long term, you want a Glass House gym.
I do.
What's in the immediate for you?
In the immediate, well, I am just building my business now, right? Which is a lot different because I went from working in a gym and then in August, after I was done filming, not working there anymore. And then taking a little bit of time off because I was doing other things and traveling. And so now I'm building my own private business up with Glass House Fitness. And eventually, I want to also have to create a fitness program for Covenant House. And that's because right now...
So this is the charity that you played for in Champs vs. Stars Season 2. Tell us about him.
So Covenant House is a nonprofit homeless youth shelter. So it houses homeless and trafficked youth from the ages 18 to 24, which is a really important time, right? Like foster homes, people get put out at 18.
Because you're effectively considered like an adult.
Right.
But you're not necessarily supported.
Exactly. And so... one thing is when I went to Covenant House, it was really cool. I felt it right away. It's real. That's why I wanted to work with them. But having my own form of homelessness, I'm really sensitive to it even more. And I wanted to I knew that I wanted to work with a nonprofit that worked with homelessness, that worked with kids and sex trafficking. And, while I don't have anything that's that close to me with the sex trafficking, I just don't believe kids, people deserve to be treated like that, and it's horrible, the effects it has on people. So anyhow, went to Covenant House, just felt the spirit. I mean, I got to see all the different, I didn't even know Oprah had gone in there and changed that around before I went there.
Amazing.
I didn't know Nikki Sixx had came in and created a music studio for the kids to have a creative space. They have an art studio. They have all these educational programs set up. What I recognize when I'm going through is that Covenant House does not have a fitness program at all and nothing for wellness, And I know it's hard, like low income, not having anything. It's hard how do you preach nutrition and things like that, right? But one day when we were walking in there, I saw this little boy sitting there, and the president of Covenant House, he sees him. He goes, "Hey man, what's up? You have to go to work soon?" And because you're not allowed to just sit around and loiter. And he says, "No, I'm charging my phone." He's like, "I'm already done with work." And I remember hearing this little boy say, he's like, "I'm just tired." He's like, "But I can't sleep." He's like, "Got insomnia," And I thought to myself, I could help him, possibly, right? We know the effects that, fitness and training can have on people that are going through depression and
mood
and everything. And I asked, I said, "Do you guys have a fitness program?" And he said no. And I was like, okay, so eventually I want to bring a fitness program where I can maybe first start out, get some people to donate the equipment to me so that I can come once a week starting out and seeing who wants to come and giving them a different outlet to release. And to feel better about themselves. And at first I was going to only do women empowerment type thing. And when that little boy was there, I was thinking to myself,
he needs it too.
Because it doesn't discriminate. When you're going through it doesn't discriminate across gender, color, anything, And so that's something that I hope in the near future get that started after I kind of get my footing with this business growing right now. Yeah.
I think we're going to be very, very good friends, Kim.
Yeah,
very good friends.
Girl, we can work together.
For
we can
sure.
slay together.
Exactly.
We can slay.
Girl, thank you so much for coming on Slay Sunday. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's awesome. I'm happy to finally meet you.
I know.
I know you're a badass. And so it was awesome.
Sugar. Casper told me all about you.
Oh, really? What did he say? What did he say?
I'm not going to tell you.
I
tell you when the cameras are off.
I know. Cameras off for that one, yeah. Man, Casper's a badass too, so that's awesome. Well, that's cool. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Cool.